Let me start with a question. Your phone rings. It's your organization's legal counsel. There's been a lawsuit filed, and the court has just issued a subpoena. You have 48 hours to produce every document, email, and communication related to a contract from 3 years ago. Where do you go first? How confident are you that you can find everything? And how certain are you that what you find hasn't been altered, accidentally deleted, or buried under a mountain of files nobody organized? If that scenario made you even slightly uncomfortable, you're in exactly the right place. Because that gap between having information and being able to reliably find, trust, and defend it is precisely the problem that records management was built to solve. Welcome to Module 1, Introduction to Records Management. I'm genuinely glad you're here because what we cover in the next 30 minutes will change the way you think about every document you ever create or receive at work. So, what actually is a record? Here's the international definition. And yes, there really is an international standard for this because records management is that serious. The ISO standard 15489 defines a record as information created, received, and maintained as evidence and information by an organization in pursuance of legal obligations or in the transaction of business. Let's unpack that because every word is doing real work. Created or received. Notice that a record doesn't have to originate inside your walls. That invoice from a vendor, that regulatory notice from the government, those are records too. The moment your organization has an obligation to keep them as evidence. Yes, this is the heart of it. A record exists to prove something happened. A decision was made. Money changed hands. A promise was kept or broken. It's the paper trail of organizational life. And in pursuance of legal obligations or business transactions, this tells us why we're doing this at all. Organizations are accountable to courts, to regulators, to the people they serve. Records are how you prove that accountability. Now, here's something that surprises a lot of people. A record can be anything. A paper contract, an email, a spreadsheet, a voicemail, social media post, even a text message. Format does not determine whether something is a record. Its content, its context, and the obligation to keep it. Those are what matter. For something to qualify as a genuine record, it needs 4 specific properties. Think of them as the 4 superpowers every record must have. Superpower 1, authenticity. The record is genuinely what it claims to be, created by the person who says they created it. At the time it says it was created. No fakes, no forgeries. Superpower 2, reliability. The content can be trusted. It's a full and accurate picture of the event or transaction it documents. Not cherry-picked, not incomplete. Superpower 3, integrity. The record is whole and unaltered. If someone added a note or annotation, that addition is clearly identified and separated from the original. You can always tell what was original and what was added later. Superpower 4, usability. The record can actually be found, opened, and understood. It's connected to its context. You know what it is, where it came from, and what it relates to. These 4 properties aren't optional extras. They're the difference between a record that holds up in court and one that gets your organization in serious trouble. Now, here's one of the most important distinctions in this entire course, and it's one that trips up even experienced professionals. What is the difference between a record, a document, and just information? Picture 3 nested circles. The biggest one on the outside is information. That's everything. Every sticky note, every casual chat message, every whiteboard photo from a brainstorm, all of it is information. Inside that is the document circle. A document is structured information, a file with defined content, a Word document, a PDF, a spreadsheet. Documents have authors and dates and usually versions. But here's the thing, not every document is a record. And right at the center, the smallest, most important circle is the record. A record is a document that has crossed a critical threshold. It documents something your organization is accountable for, and a law, regulation, or policy says you must keep it. Let me make this concrete. A signed vendor contract? Yes. Record. Binding agreement, legal obligation must be kept. A draft of that contract before anyone signed it. Not a record yet. It's a working document, still evolving. No obligation triggered. An email approving a $50,000 purchase. Record. Financial decision. Audit trail, retention required, a message saying let's grab coffee at 2, not a record. Scheduling convenience, no business transaction documented. The formal act of designating a document as a record or flipping that switch is called declaration. In OpenText records management, declaration is when the system officially takes over and begins managing that record's entire life cycle. You've probably heard 3 terms thrown around in enterprise technology: records management, document management, and enterprise content management, or ECM. And you've almost certainly heard them used interchangeably. They're not the same thing. Let me sort this out for good. Document management is the bustling active layer. It's where content lives while it's being created, drafted, reviewed, and collaborated on. Version control, check-in, check-out, approval workflows. This is the everyday working world. Records management is the governance layer. It kicks in after a document has been declared a record. So when it crosses that threshold we just talked about. From that point, records management controls how long it's kept, who can access it, whether it can be placed on hold, and what happens when its retention period ends. ECM, Enterprise Content Management, is the platform that wraps around both. It manages all organizational content across its entire life, from first draft to final disposal. OpenText Content Suite is an ECM platform, and within it, the records management module is the piece that brings legal muscle and governance accountability. Here's an analogy I love. Think of an ECM platform as a hospital. Document management is the emergency room, active, busy, fast-moving, things changing every hour. Records management is the medical records department, secure, controlled, meticulously organized, and absolutely critical when a lawyer or auditor comes asking questions. Now, let's understand the life cycle of the record. Every organization I have ever worked with has the same problem. Somewhere in a server room, on a shared drive, perhaps literally in a filing cabinet nobody's opened since 2017, there's content that nobody quite knows what to do with. It was important once, it might be important again, or it might be completely worthless, and nobody's had the time to check. The records lifecycle is the framework that answers that question, not just for one document, but for every document, every email, every contract your organization will ever touch. Let's follow a record on its journey. Our hero, the Tech Solutions IT contract, a 3-year vendor support agreement signed on January 15th, 2024. A perfectly ordinary contract until you see everything that happens to it over the next 10 years. Stage 1, creation and capture. Our contract is born. The finance team has negotiated terms, both sides have signed, and now the executed PDF lands in someone's email inbox. Here's a critical insight that catches many people off guard. The record is not just the content, it's the content plus its context. Who created it? When? In response to what business activity? Under which legal authority? Strip that context away and you have text, not a record. So our finance team uploads the contract to OpenText Content Suite and declares it as a record. In that moment, by the act of declaration, the system captures all that context automatically. The owner, the creation date, the document type, and then the records manager layers on the record specific metadata, the classification, the retention schedule, the status. Think of it like a birth certificate. The moment our contract is declared as a record, it gets its official identity and its managed life begins. Stage 2, classification and organization. Our contract needs an address, not a physical one, a logical home in the organization's file plan. In OpenText records management, every record is assigned to an RM classification, a category in the hierarchy that describes what kind of record it is. Our contract lands at finance, then contracts, then vendor contracts. Why does this matter? Because that classification is the record's passport. It determines which retention schedule applies, who can access it, how it's searched and found, and ultimately it's as what happens to it at the end of its life. Here's the elegant part of a well-designed system. When the classification is set up correctly, the retention schedule is assigned automatically. Our contract inherits the vendor contracts retention rule 7 years after it's closed, without anyone having to manually look up a policy. The system does it. That's the power of a good classification hierarchy. Stage 3, active use and access. Life is good for our contract. It's being referenced in meetings. Finance is checking payment terms. Legal is reviewing renewal clauses. The IT team needs to know what services are covered. During this stage, access controls do their job quietly. Only authorized users can view the contract. Changes are tracked. Cross-references connected to related documents, like the statement of work filed separately. The record is alive, actively useful and protected. Stage 4, inactive storage and preservation. Time passes. The contract is 3 years old. Nobody's looking at it anymore. But it can't be deleted. It still has legal and regulatory value. So it moves to inactive status. In many organizations, inactive records are migrated to lower cost storage, either physical offsite facilities for paper copies or cheaper digital storage tiers. OpenText tracks the storage medium: electronic, paper on-site, paper off-site, microfilm. The record is quiet, but it's still managed and still findable. Retirement, not abandonment. Stage 5, disposition, the final chapter. January 14th, 2027, the Tech Solutions contract reaches its end date. The records manager updates its status to closed, and in that moment, quietly, automatically, the retention clock starts ticking. 7 years from now, on January 14, 2034, that clock expires. The next scheduled disposition search finds our contract. The records manager reviews it, confirms no active holds exist, approves the action, and the record is permanently destroyed. A destruction log is generated and kept forever as proof. And here's something important. Destroying a record you're legally permitted to destroy is not sloppy. It's the professionally and legally correct action. Keeping records longer than required actually increases your legal exposure. More content means more content that can be subpoenaed, searched, and used against you. The life cycle isn't just a framework for organization. It's a framework for protection. Now let us understand why digital record keeping matters. Picture this. It's 1998. A records request comes in. Someone needs to find a contract from 4 years ago. An employee walks to the filing room, scans rows of manila folders, pulls out a drawer, searches by year, then by vendor name, then prays that whoever filed it before them had the same logic. 2 hours later, if they're lucky, they find what they need. If they're not lucky, the contract was misfiled, or the box was damaged in a flood, or it's sitting in an off-site storage facility 3 towns away with no digital index. This isn't a history lesson, but they see. It's still happening in organizations around the world right now. And paper-based records management has 5 chronic structural problems. Physical storage costs money. Retrieval takes time. Records get lost, damaged, or destroyed. There's no audit trail of who accessed what. And applying retention policies consistently across physical boxes is frankly impossible. Every one of those problems is solved by digital record keeping. Let me show you how. The digital advantage. When records are managed digitally in a system like OpenText Content Suite, the transformation is dramatic. Instant retrieval. That 4-year-old contract? Type the vendor name. Press search. Found in under 3 seconds. Automated retention. No one needs to manually track when records need to be reviewed or destroyed. The retention schedule runs in the background, counting down, and surfaces records for review when the time comes. Unbreakable audit trails. Every time a record is created, viewed, classified, modified, held, or destroyed, it's logged, time-stamped, attributed. That log is your defense in court and your proof of compliance in any audit. Legal hold management. When litigation is anticipated, you can freeze relevant records instantly, even across thousands of documents, with a few clicks. No more hoping someone remembered to stop the shredder. And here's a real-world example. Harris County, Texas, one of the largest counties in the United States, replaced their manual paper workflows with open text digital record keeping. The result? Departments across the county were empowered to improve their internal processes and deliver better services to millions of residents. That's not just an efficiency story, but that's a governance transformation. Now, let's understand the government mandate. In December 2022, the US Office of Management and Budget issued Memorandum M2307, and it sent a very clear message to every federal agency in the country. Digitize everything by June 30th, 2024. 100% of federal paper records, fully digital. No exceptions, no extensions. This wasn't a suggestion. This was a federal mandate with compliance scrutiny from the National Archives and Records Administration, waiting for agencies that missed the mark. Why does this matter to you, even if you don't work for the federal government? Because it reflects a fundamental shift in how governments and organizations everywhere view digital record keeping. It's no longer optional. It's no longer a nice to have. It's a core responsibility of organizational governance. Full stop. Let's talk about compliance. I know, Seth, eyes glazing over already. Bear with me. In 2017, Deutsche Bank was fined $14 billion, partly because of records management failures. In 2022, the SEC fined 16 major financial firms a combined $1.8 billion for using WhatsApp and personal devices for business communications and failing to capture those communications as records. Compliance standards aren't bureaucratic red tape. They are the legal rulebook that protects your organization from consequences like those. And the good news, the really good news, is that when you implement a certified records management system like OpenTextRM, most of that compliance architecture is built right in. You're not building from scratch. You're inheriting years of certification work. Let's look at the key standards you'll encounter. Let's look at the US federal regulations, the Federal Records Act. This is the foundational law for US federal records management, encoded in Title 44 of the United States Code. It requires federal agencies to make and preserve records documenting their activities, policies, and decisions. It's the legal backbone everything else hangs from. DOD 5015.02 version 3. Say that 3 times fast. This is the US Department of Defense standard for electronic records management systems. It defines mandatory functional requirements for managing both standard and classified records. And here's the key point. OpenTextRM is certified to this standard. That's not a minor achievement, but it's one of the most rigorous certifications in the records management industry. FDA 21 CFR Part 11. If you work in pharmaceuticals, biotech, or medical devices, this one is your constant companion. It governs electronic records and electronic signatures in regulated industries, requiring audit trails, access controls, and system validation. SEC Rule 17, a 4. Financial services firms, broker-dealers specifically, must preserve certain records in a non-rewritable, non-erasable format. In the records world, we call that worm storage, write once, read many. OpenTextRM supports this through archive server integration. That's how those 16 financial firms should have been capturing their messages. Records management isn't just a US concern, it's a global discipline with internationally recognized standards. ISO 15489. This is the international gold standard for records management programs. Published in 2 parts, it defines the principles and requirements for managing records regardless of format or medium, from paper to digital to born digital. OpenTextRM aligns with ISO 15489 at its core. Beyond that, OpenTextRM holds certifications from the UK National Archives, the Australian VERS standards levels 1 through 5, and the Finnish SAHCO 2 requirements for public administration. What this tells you is, whatever regulatory environment you're operating in, US federal, state government, financial services, pharmaceutical, Australian public sector, European public administration, OpenTextRM was designed with your compliance requirements in mind. Now, certifications are only meaningful if they are implemented as real technical controls. So let's look at how OpenTextRM puts compliance into practice. 7-pass secure delete. When a record is destroyed under Department of Defense mode, the file isn't just deleted, it's overwritten 7 times before deletion. File recovery software cannot restore data overwritten 7 times. That is defensible, irreversible destruction. Security clearance levels. Records can be assigned classification levels: unclassified, confidential, secret. Users must hold a matching or higher clearance level to access the record. The system enforces this automatically. Comprehensive audit trails. Every significant action in the system is logged. Record creation, classification changes, hold applications and removals, disposition events. This log is your organization's defensible evidence trail in any audit, investigation, or litigation. Legal holds, perhaps the most operationally critical feature. When litigation is anticipated, a hold can be applied instantly at the record level, folder level, or even to an entire classification. Holds override disposition schedules completely. A record on hold cannot be destroyed even if its retention period has expired. And search-enabled holds automatically capture new records matching defined criteria as they arrive. Your legal team can sleep at night. Let's land the plane on Module 1. We started with a question that made many of you uncomfortable. A subpoena. 48 hours. Could your organization find what it needed? We've now built the foundation for answering yes, confidently, to that question. A record is information maintained as evidence of a business activity, authentic, reliable, whole, and usable. Not every document is a record, and that distinction matters enormously. The record's life cycle gives every record a clear journey: creation, classification, active use, inactive storage, and final disposition, managed, tracked, and defensible at every stage. Digital record keeping isn't just more convenient than paper. It's fundamentally more capable, more compliant, and more protective. And compliance standards, from the Federal Records Act to ISO 15489 to the Department of Defense standard, aren't obstacles. They're the architecture of accountability that OpenTextRM is built on. You've built the mental model. Now let's put it to work. See you in Module 2.